correct? Question. So during the course of these months, you would go out there and you would essentially hang out at the house, or would the four of you ever go, would the four of you go ever, your sister, yourself, Odin, and Aaron? Answer. Mostly just the house. Question. And on those occasions that you visited, did you ever see any other individuals or friends of Aaron's? Answer. Yes. Question. Who else did you see at the home? Answer. Bo was there a lot. There were other various people that came in and out. Question. And this individual you referred to as Bo, do you know what his true name is? Answer. Not off the top of my head, no. Is that right?
Yes.
Does that refresh your memory as to the context of when you saw Bo in the months in the early part of 2013?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. In terms of the question that Mr. Meyer had asked you about the timing of when you first saw Bo, and you had indicated in the early part of 2013. And then the question that he read to you, the context of that question was in the months, during these course of months, from October to June. You answered, you spent 2 weekends out of 4, maybe twice a month, going to Aaron and Cheyenne's home. Is that right?
Correct.
And it was during these occasions you were asked, who else did you see at the home? Answer, Bo was there a lot.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember the exact time that you actually met him?
No.
The first occasion?
No.
Okay. But do you recall approximately how many occasions that you would have seen him at the home of Aaron Hernandez?
Numerous times.
Okay. Thank you. I have nothing else, Sean.
I know.
You may sit down.
Thank you.
Let me call your next witness.
Roll calls Mark Archambault, please.
This way, sir. Please follow me.
Please face the clerk and raise your right hand.
Mr. Archambault, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give to this court and this jury will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir.
Have a seat, sir.
You're speaking to the microphone with the blue light on it.
May I inquire you?
Me.
Sir, state your name for the record and spell that last name, please.
Mark Thomas Archambault, A-R-C-H-A-M-B-A-U-L-T.
How old are you, sir?
54.
What do you do for a living?
I install TV systems, home theater systems, and video cameras.
Where do you live?
Smithfield, Rhode Island.
And what's the general area of your business?
Most of Rhode Island, southern Massachusetts.
Do you own your own business or work for somebody else?
I own my own business and also do part-time work for somebody else.
Okay. What is the name of your business?
Chromatech Video and Sound.
And what is the name of the business that you do part-time work for?
Home Tech.
Okay. How long have you had that relationship where you work on your own but you also do work with somebody else?
About 8 years.
Is there a particular principal of guy that owns Home Tech that you work with most often?
Yes, Michael Connors.
How long have you been in the business that you're in?
Since 2005.
And if you could, for the jury, just describe the general practice of what you do, your area of business.
Mainly installing TVs, surround sound systems, speaker systems, audio video stuff, and security cameras.
Is that something different than what the Home Tech's general business is?
Pretty much the same thing.
And how did you learn that particular trade?
Pretty much hands-on, working with other people. I used to do stuff for Circuit City years ago, reading manuals, stuff online, a lot of self-taught stuff.
How many installations in general of any kind of electronic equipment have you done over the years?
Thousands.
Is it part of the business that you do to work with home security systems?
Video, yep, not alarms.
So if you could, for the jury, just describe what goes into a sort of a residential security systems video system.
You would have a DVR to record the video cameras, and a power supply, pretty much, to power them.
And what's the role of the DVR in that particular system?
The DVR records all the footage on a hard drive like a computer.
Okay, and how do you go from the cameras to the DVR?
On a Cat5 or Cat6 wire.
What is that?
It's a electronic cable wire, like you would put Ethernet on for computers and stuff.
Right. And DVR, what does that stand for?
Digital video recorder.
And how many different types of DVRs have you worked with over the years?
Analog, digital, and hybrid, which is analog and digital.
Okay. Could you explain to the jury what the difference is between those three types of systems?
Analog uses like the older-fashioned TV signal, a composite signal like the TVs used to use. Digital uses a digital signal like the modern TVs, computers and stuff use. It's like binary code, ones and zeros. And then there's a combination that uses both.
And how long have you been working specifically with home video systems hooked into security systems?
Probably 7, 8 years.
And did you get into that business first yourself, or did you first start working with Michael Connors at Home Tech for that particular part of your business?
Michael Connors pretty much showed me most of that.
Okay. And how long did you work with Mr. Connors with regard specifically to putting into DVRs and home security systems?
A few years, 4 or 5 years probably.
Now, you described that a DVR is like a computer. Could you break that down a little bit for the jury about what's similar to a computer with a DVR?
It has a processor in it like a computer, and then it's got a hard drive in it like a computer, and all the video is stored digitally on the hard drive.
In the back of a DVR, how do you hook the cables in? In other words, is there special hookups for that?
Yes, there's either analog hookups that's like a composite connector that you would have on an old VCR, or digital ones that use a connector like a Cat5 cable like you would plug your computer into.
Now, I want to turn your attention to December of 2012. Did you receive a call from Mike Connors regarding a job at 22 Ronald C. Meyer Drive in North Attleboro?
Yes, I did.
When you received that call, had you ever worked at that location prior to that day?
Once before, when Ty Warren owned the house.
Okay, and just in very general terms, what, well, first of all, who did you understand Ty Warren to be?
New England Patriots player.
Okay, and do you remember about when that was that you worked on the home first?
Probably a couple of years before that.
And what work did you do then?
We swapped out a TV, took down an old TV, and installed a new one.
Okay, had you done any work with regards to a home security system for Mr. Warren?
No.
So in December of 2012, what did you understand your responsibilities were going to be that day in working with Mr. Connors?
We were going to install a full home theater system, surround sound system, screen, projector, and a couple of TVs in other rooms.
Okay. And did you proceed to do that work in December of 2012?
Yes.
Can you describe for the jury a little bit about what that home looked like?
It was a nice, large, upscale home, a large great room, a home theater room in the basement, which was actually like a mini theater, a bar, pool table area, like a rec room in the basement. Nice home.
And where did you put the home theater system?
In the basement. It had a dedicated room.
At that time, did you meet any of the people who were living in the home at that time?
Yes, Mr. Hernandez and his fiancée.
Did you recognize Mr. Hernandez?
Yes.
And how did you know who Mr. Hernandez was at that time?
Because he was a famous football player.
Did you have a conversation with him at all that day?
Yes, we just introduced ourselves. I was packing up my tools at the end of the day, and he came into the basement, and it was just a quick conversation, asked me how everything was going. I said, good, we should be done in a few days, and he pretty much said, great, I'm looking forward to using the new system.
May I approach, Your Honor? Show you what's previously marked exhibit number 2, and ask you to recognize the individual in that picture.
Yes, that's Mr. Hernandez.
If I might just publish that for the jury. Now, you said that you also met with you met another person who was living there?
Yes, his fiance,
Did you know her name?
Cheyenne.
Was that the only part of her name that you knew at that time?
Yes.
Did you have any conversations with her that day?
I'm sure I did, probably just casual conversation. She was excited about getting the home theater system done before Christmas.
So in December of 2012, did you do any work at all in terms of a security system?
No.
Okay. Did you make note whether or not there was a security system installed at that time?
There was none at the time. There were wires that were hanging out of the wall, but no DVR or anything like that.
Did you know whether or not there were any cameras?
No, not at that time.
How long did your work in 2012 take?
I think it took about 4 days to complete it.
Did you have any other further interaction with Mr. Hernandez at all?
No.
Just directing your attention to the gentleman on the far left at council table, did you have any interaction with him at all in December of 2012?
No.
Well, I'll see, Counsel.
Did you ever return to Ronald C. Meyer Drive?
Yes, I did.
Okay, when was that?
That was May of 2013.
And were you also working with Home Tech on that particular day?
Yes, I was.
And what was your intention on that day? What work were you going to do?
We were going to install some new cameras, activate some old cameras that were on the premises, install a DVR, and some touchpads to control the system.
Okay. So in total, what would you call that kind of work?
A home video security system.
Okay. If you could, just in general terms, describe where in the home that you installed cameras.
Installed cameras on the front porch, the foyer, great room, pool house facing the rear of the house, and the basement rec room area where the bar was, pool table.
And did you hook in some old cameras to the system as well?
Yes, we did.
And where were those located?
Front door, the rear of the house, the driveway, the rear gate, and the playroom.
The old cameras that had been there that you hooked into the system, were those digital or analog cameras?
Those are analog cameras.
The new cameras that you put in, were they digital cameras or analog cameras?
They were digital cameras.
Specifically with regards to the two cameras on the front porch, can you describe those for the jury, please?
Those were pan, tilt, and zoom cameras. You could actually turn the camera in different directions, move it up and down, and zoom in on stuff. That had actually a very powerful lens on it that could probably zoom in a good quarter mile.
Did any of the other cameras that were either there or installed that day by you have that capability?
No.
And when you say that you put in a DVR, where specifically in the home did you put the DVR?
That went in the home theater room where the rest of the equipment was and all the controllers for the touchpads and the rest of the equipment in the house.
Was this a wireless system or a wired system?
It was a wired system.
Okay. And how was the system controlled?
It's controlled by touchpads and like a brain that's in the basement there that controls all the pads and everything that everything plugs into.
Could you control the system by any mobile pads?
Yes, you could.
Could you describe that for the jury, please?
It's like an application that you would install on your phone that allows you to connect to the system and view the cameras from remotely.
Could you use something other than a phone to do that as well?
Yes, an iPad or Android tablet.
Where did you install the pads into the control pads into the walls? Where in the house?
One in the basement at the bar, one in the kitchen, and one in the master bedroom.
What were the capabilities of those control pads? What could they do?
They could allow you to look at all the cameras from the different areas and also to control the pan, tilt, and zoom cameras on the front porch.
So with regards to the cameras that was on the porch that you hooked in, that was already there, where did that camera point?
One was pointing at the driveway, I think, and one was pointing at the road.
Okay. And the one that was in the driveway itself already, that you hooked into the system, where did that camera point?
That pointed at the driveway.
Were there any analog cameras within the home itself that you hooked into the system?
One in the playroom.
What floor was that on?
That was a second floor off the kitchen.
Okay. No other analog cameras within the home itself?
No, that was the only internal one.
With regards to the digital cameras, the two on the porch, were they digital?
Yes, they were.
So those are the two pan, tilt, and zooms?
Yes.
Where within the first floor did you put cameras that were digital cameras?
Installed one in the foyer facing the front door, in the great room covering the entire great room, one in the basement pool table bar area, and one on the pool house that covered the rear sliding doors that left the basement.
What do those look like on the wall?
Like a bubble, like a little dome with tinted glass.
In the back of the home were there cameras as well?
Yes.
And where were those installed?
The one we installed was on the pool house covering the back sliders, and then there was an old analog one that was up on the second floor, like under the eaves.
And that one had already been there?
That one had already been there, yes.
You might approach your
Me.
First, I'm going to show you this series of 4 photographs and ask if you recognize what's depicted in those 4 photographs.
Okay.
You just take those.
First one is a camera in the great room.
Just to yourself, you recognize them?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And what do you recognize them to be in general terms?
Pictures of the rooms and the cameras that we installed.
Okay. If you could just by one, do they fairly and accurately depict the way that the home looked when you installed the cameras?
Yes.
Okay. And does each of those, in essence, show a location of one of the cameras?
Yes, they do.
Okay. I move to admit these, Your Honor.
Without objection, they may be marked as the next exhibits.
21 through 24.
With regards to 21 through 24, could you take this pen and circle the location of each of the cameras that you've described? Show you this series of 4 photographs. Ask if you recognize what's depicted in those 4 photographs.
Yes, I do.
And in general terms, what do those 4 photographs depict?
Video cameras
Where?
on the house,
Okay. Are they inside or outside?
outside.
Okay. And do those fairly and accurately depict the locations and general layout of the cameras on the outside of the house that day?
Yes.
Move to admit, Your Honor.
Without objection, may be marked as the next exhibit.
And again, sir, if you could just circle the location of the cameras as you see them in these photographs. Regarding to these particular 3 photographs, sir, ask if you can take a look at those. Do you recognize what those depict?
Yes, they depict the touchpads we installed.
And do they fairly and accurately represent what the touchpads looked like the day that you installed them?
Yes, they do.
Did you circle each of the... strike that. Can you move to admit this, Your Honor? Move to admit those, Your Honor.
Without objection, they may be marked as the next exhibit.
Sir, again, if you could, just circle the locations of the touchpads in each of those photographs. And may I publish these?
Starting with exhibit number 24, sir. What does this particular picture depict?
That depicts the camera in the great room.
And where did that camera point?
It pointed at the seating area and then some sliding doors that went out to the deck.
And this is a camera that you installed, sir?
Yes.
Looking at number 23. The circled area is the camera in this as well.
Yes, it is.
And where did this camera point?
That pointed at the front door, foyer area, and the door to the basement.
Each of these ones that's a black dot, are these digitals or analogs?
That's digital.
Number 22.
That's the camera in the basement bar area.
And if you could just with your finger point to where it is.
Right
The
here.
circle right up here.
Yes.
And is that, what floor is that on?
That's in the basement.
And where did that camera point?
That pointed at the entrance from the stairs to the basement and over towards the bar.
Number 21.
And that's the great room again.
Number 28.
That's the pool house, and that points at the rear sliding doors leaving the basement.
Number 27.
That's the analog camera that points to the driveway.
Just first off, where is the circle in this one?
Right here.
Right here.
Yep.
Was this one an analog or a digital?
That's an analog.
And where did it point again?
The driveway area.
Number 26.
Those are the pan, tilt, and zoom cameras on the front porch.
Can you just point to those quickly? Here.
Correct? In here.
And was there also an analog camera there as well on the porch?
Yes, there was.
Can you see that at all in this picture?
No, I think it was near the door on the right-hand side, if I recall.
With reference to the photograph, which direction is it pointing?
It was pointing at the front door area so you could see somebody if they came up and rang the doorbell.
Was that old analog camera, was that also put into the system?
I'm not sure if it was, to tell you the truth.
Number 25. All right. So just you gesturing here, this area
Yes.
right here?
Mm-hmm.
And where did that camera point?
At the backyard in the swimming pool.
Was that an analog or a digital?
That was analog too.
Looking at number 30, is there a touchpad in this particular picture?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Is this dark area here that you circled?
Yes.
Were all three of the touchpads that you've described have essentially the same control systems?
Exactly.
Looking at number 29, where is the touchpad in this particular picture?
Right there.
And what area of the home is this?
That's in the basement where the bar is and the pool table.
Number 31, is this the touchpad here?
Yes.
And what area of the home is that?
That's in the kitchen.
It's 4 o'clock. We're going to stop at this time. Before I excuse you for the day, let me tell you that Tomorrow, we're going to go visit the places, some of the places about which you'll be hearing testimony, so you should wear comfortable walking shoes. I had indicated at the beginning during jury selection that we would stop early 2 days a week, often Wednesday and Friday, since I'm not sure what time we're going to be back tomorrow. The 2 days this week that we'll be stopping at 1 are Thursday and Friday. And just to give you a preview of the next few weeks, next week we'll be stopping at 1 on Tuesday and Wednesday, and the following week on Wednesday and Friday. Please keep your minds suspended. Don't discuss the case among yourselves or with anyone else in any manner, shape, or form. Don't do any research about the case. I would ask that you all be here shortly before 9 tomorrow so that we can start out promptly at 9. Thank you very much.
All rise.